grandmother said when she was crowned, coronations are a declaration of our hopes for the future. And I know she's up there, fondly keeping an eye on us, and she'll be a very proud mother.
Just now, Prince William dropped a strange revelation about Queen Camilla, throwing the entire royal family into turmoil. Growing up, my mom always hinted at hidden dramas lurking beneath the royal family's polished facade, steeped in age-old traditions and impeccable poise. What does this explosive revelation mean for the royal family's image and their rapport with the public? Tune in. Let's dive deep into the core of these shocking developments. The shifting shadows of royalty. Back in 1995, my mom would have already been aware of the hidden issues within the British royal family. For years, they were known for their strong traditions and unshakable dignity. But now everything has been shaken by an unexpected revelation from Prince William himself. His words have sparked a wave of rumors, gossip, and endless curiosity that's left even the most dedicated royal followers struggling to keep up. And at the heart of all this is Queen Camilla, once seen as the villain in what felt like a real-life royal soap opera. As we dig deeper, we'll uncover some surprising decisions Prince William has made about Queen Camilla. As the clock ticks towards a major revelation, the world waits. What Prince William is about to reveal could change the monarchy forever. Before we dive into those details, let's take a look back at her marriage to King Charles. Their wedding in 2004 was a major event. After a lot of thought and conversations with religious leaders and government officials, Queen Elizabeth gave her blessing to the marriage, allowing them to officially tie the knot. This decision came after a lot of careful consideration. When the engagement was announced in February 2005, the reaction was mixed. Some people were happy that he had found love again, while others thought it was too soon after Diana's death, or couldn't move past the earlier controversies. For William, who was 22 at the time, and Harry, who was 20, this marriage was a big change in their family life. As the wedding day drew closer, people were curious about how the brothers would react, but both he and Harry publicly showed their support for their father's decision, acting with maturity and expressing their wish for him to be happy. In particular, he made it clear that they just wanted their dad to be content. The wedding took place on April 9, 2005 at Windsor Guildhall. This was followed by a blessing ceremony at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. The civil ceremony reflected the complicated history between them, acknowledging her previous marriage. During the ceremony, both he and Harry stood by their father's side, showing that they accepted this new chapter. He even took on a leading role by reading a prayer, which symbolized his approval and his support for his father's new marriage. But this wasn't the most challenging moment for him. The wedding was a turning point for the royal family. Camilla received the title Duchess of Cornwall and chose not to take the title of Princess of Wales, out of respect for Diana. For him, the wedding was a formal acceptance of Camilla's role in his father's life and indirectly in his own life too. After the wedding, they carried on their royal duties together while he went back to his studies at the University of St. Andrews, staying out of the media spotlight as much as possible. The years between Diana's death and their wedding were full of big changes for the royal family, and especially for him. These experiences shaped many of the important decisions he would go on to make. Before we continue with the recent revelations about Camilla, let's take a step back and look at her early life and the controversies she faced before meeting him. Camilla Rosemary Shand was born on July 17, 1947 in London. She later became Queen Camilla, consort to him. But before we get to the major announcement from him about her, we need to understand her background and what shaped her into the person she is today. Let's explore the unusual path of a woman on her way to royalty. The story of a royal bond. Unlike many royal spouses, Camilla didn't come from an aristocratic family. Her father, Major Bruce Shand, went from being a British Army officer to working as a wine merchant, and her mother, Rosalind Cubitt, came from a family with minor nobility. Growing up, she split her time between the city and the countryside, where she developed a love for outdoor activities, especially horses. She attended Dumbrell School in Sussex and Queen's Gate School in South Kensington before continuing her education in Switzerland and France. Instead of going to university, she worked as a secretary in various companies in London's West End. Throughout her life, she stayed close to her younger sister, Annabel Elliot, who was born in 1949. This bond was a source of strength as she faced the ups and downs of royal life. In the years that followed, filled with media attention, her life was woven with the highs and lows of love. She first met Prince Charles in 1970 at a polo match where their journey together truly began. At 23, she struck up a conversation with him by mentioning a shared piece of history. Both their ancestors had been romantically linked. His great-grandfather Edward VII and her great-grandmother Alice Keppel had been involved. This common ground, combined with her confidence, quickly drew him in. They bonded over their love for the outdoors, literature, and humor. However, the timing wasn't right for a romance. He was focused on his naval career, and the royal family didn't see her as a suitable match due to her background and past relationships. In 1973, while he was away with the Navy, she married Andrew Parker Bowles. It was a well-accepted match in their social circles, but it left a lasting mark on him. Even so, he remained close to both her and Andrew, even becoming the godfather to their son Tom, born in 1974. During the 1970s, she was focused on raising Tom and her daughter Laura while keeping up her friendship with him. It was known among their friends that both she and Andrew had relationships with other people during their marriage. As pressure mounted on him to marry, he started dating Lady Diana Spencer in 1980. She seemed supportive of this relationship, seeing Diana's youth and innocence as no threat to her bond with him. He and Diana married in 1981, with her present at the wedding. By the mid-1980s, rumors began to spread that he and she had rekindled their affair. This was a challenging time for her as she tried to balance her emotions for him while being a wife and mother and staying out of the spotlight. The birth of Prince William in 1982 and Prince Harry in 1984 complicated things further. She was very aware of how much her relationship with him could affect the young princes. As his marriage to Diana began to fall apart in the late 1980s and early 1990s, rumors about her involvement grew louder. In 1992, things came to a head with the release of a book by Andrew Morton, which openly discussed his relationship with her. But this wasn't the worst part. In 1993, the Camilla Gate scandal broke. A private conversation between him and her was leaked, and the public's reaction was harsh. She found herself at the center of a media storm, with public disapproval growing rapidly. Despite all this, she stayed out of the public eye as much as she could, focusing on protecting Prince William, who struggled to balance his loyalty to his mother and his father's relationship with her. Things only got worse when both he and Diana publicly admitted to infidelity in interviews during the mid-1990s. Diana's famous remark about 3 people in this marriage made it clear that she was seen as an unwelcome part of the royal family drama. But this wasn't the end of the challenges for her. Next, we see a quiet fighter balancing public scandals and personal duties. Shadows of the crown. Throughout all of this, she remained silent, knowing that any public statement could make things even more difficult. Her main priority was to avoid causing more pain for Prince William, who was already in a tough spot. When he and Diana finalized their divorce in 1996, her situation remained delicate. Their relationship needed to be handled with great care to respect both public opinion and the feelings of William and Harry. This period laid the groundwork for the complicated family dynamics that would continue in the years ahead. Tom, like his father, is next in line to become the Earl of Enfield. He had married someone outside the Catholic Church, but after 21 years together, he and his wife decided to separate in December 1994. This decision came just a few months after a hard loss. His mother-in-law, Rosalind, passed away from osteoporosis in July. Her father noted that it was an especially tough time for her. By March 1995, their divorce was finalized in London's High Court Family Division. Just a year after the divorce, Andrew remarried Rosemary Pittman, who sadly passed away in 2010. The royal family faced yet another devastating blow in 1997 with the tragic death of Princess Diana, an event that shook the entire world. Under intense public scrutiny, she chose to step back from the spotlight to show respect for the mourning princes, William and Harry, and the nation. During this difficult time, he focused on supporting his sons as they dealt with the loss of their mother. In the years that followed, he and she kept their relationship out of the public eye, being mindful of William and Harry's grief. They moved slowly, ensuring that any interactions between her and the princes were careful and thoughtful. By 1998, she had privately met both William and Harry, though this was kept away from the media to avoid adding to the public frenzy. But this wasn't the hardest part. Slowly and cautiously, he began arranging informal meetings between his sons and her to help them get more comfortable with her. As time passed, they started to appear together more often in public, facing less and less criticism. By 1999, they even attended a public event, a birthday party at the Ritz in London, marking an important moment in her introduction to the public. However, gaining full public acceptance for her wasn't easy, as many people were still deeply mourning Diana. A significant shift came in 2000 when Queen Elizabeth II attended a lunch with her, signaling that the royal family was beginning to warm up to her. William had mixed feelings about her. He understood her role in his father's life, but was still cautious, torn between honoring his late mother's memory and supporting his father's happiness. By 2003, Camilla moved into Clarence House, his official residence. This meant he and Harry would see more of her during their visits. This period was crucial for the eventual acceptance of her by the public, though debates about her role and title continued. When Charles and she married in 2005, she was given the title of Duchess of Cornwall instead of Princess of Wales, a decision carefully made to respect public feelings and ease the transition for the royal family. To understand the complex feelings about Princess Diana and her title, Princess of Wales, it's important to see how deeply people connected that title to her. Diana won over many hearts during her time with the royal family, and even after her tragic death in 1997, her memory remained cherished. When she entered the picture, many saw her as an outsider, which led to the decision not to give her the same title. This was a way of respecting Diana's legacy and recognizing the strong bond the public still felt with her. At the time, the royal family wanted to ease her into her new role and improve how people viewed her. When she married him, she faced a lot of criticism and was blamed for the end of his and Diana's marriage. So instead of calling her Princess of Wales, she was given the title Duchess of Cornwall. This allowed her to quietly find her own place within the royal family without drawing direct comparisons to Diana. Now, the royal family faces changes that stir up tradition and public opinion. Queen consort versus princess consort. But that wasn't the end of the conversation about her title. When they got married, it was announced that once he became king, she would be known as princess consort, not queen consort. This choice was meant to reflect public opinion and separate her role from past queens. However, some experts argued that by law, she would still be queen consort no matter what she was called. This decision shook up royal traditions and made things a bit more complicated. Over time, she worked hard to win over the public through her dedication and support of him. People started to warm to her, and as Queen Elizabeth's reign began to wind down, the question of what her title would be became a bigger topic of conversation. But then, just before her Platinum Jubilee in February 2022, Queen Elizabeth made a surprising announcement. She expressed her desire for her to be called Queen Consort once he became king. This put an end to years of debate and marked a big change from the original decision made when she married him. For Prince William, this shift likely added another layer of complexity. As a young man, he had to navigate supporting his father's happiness while also honoring his mother's memory. The decision to give her a lower title, like Duchess of Cornwall or Princess Consort, might have given him some peace of mind, offering him time to adjust to her role in the family. But this wasn't the only challenge he faced. Queen Elizabeth's endorsement of her as Queen Consort, though perhaps personally difficult, made things clearer from a constitutional point of view. As the second in line to the throne, he had to think about what issues might arise from having a princess consort instead of a queen consort. Throughout this time, he kept a calm and composed public image, focusing on his royal duties and family. His relationship with her has come a long way from the uneasy feelings he had after his parents' divorce and his mother's passing. While the public's acceptance of her grew, he continued to balance his responsibilities and family relationships, even as her role in the monarchy changed. But this wasn't the only challenge involving her. There was also some reported tension between her and Princess Kate, his wife. This ongoing friction, which started early in Kate and his marriage, was marked by subtle disagreements that became more obvious over time, especially during key events like Charles's coronation. Prince William's recent announcement surprised everyone as no one saw it coming. His news was a big deal, and it had a deep effect on Queen Camilla. It even brought Charles to tears back in 2005. That same year, Charles chose Annabelle Elliott, who is Queen Camilla's younger sister and a well-known interior designer, to redesign his huge estates. This included the Duchy of Cornwall, where Annabelle helped make the properties, like fancy rental cottages in Cornwall, Wales, and the Isles of Scilly, more modern and fresh. The money for these updates came from the Duchy of Cornwall, a large estate that supports the heir to the throne. Charles was in charge of this estate until he became king in September 2022. Annabelle earned a lot for her work, and reports show she was paid well over the years. For example, records from before September 2011 show she made about $25,000 in fees and commissions, along with $115,000 for buying furniture and other items for the duchy's properties. As new leaders emerge, the royal family redefines roles and relationships, navigating new traditions. But things changed when Charles became king and Prince William took over as Duke of Cornwall. By July 2023, he decided not to renew Annabelle's contract for the 2023 to 2024 period. This wasn't because of any issues with her work, it just meant that her job was done and the duchy staff could manage things on their own. This marked the end of her official work with the estate, which was a big change since she had been connected to the royal family and her sister, the Queen, for so long. Annabelle and Queen Camilla have always been close. They are often seen together at events like their appearance at Wimbledon in July 2023. Annabelle also played an important role during Queen Camilla's coronation in May 2023, serving as a coronation attendant. His choice to move in a different direction suggests he may be focusing on streamlining operations and moving away from depending on family ties as much as his father did. But this wasn't the only significant shift. This change also hints at his commitment to being more transparent and modern in how the monarchy handles its finances. For instance, Prince William has decided to pay taxes on his income, although the details are kept private. By not reappointing Annabelle, he is making it clear that he is willing to break with some of the traditions his father followed. What this means for the future of the monarchy and Queen Camilla's involvement remains to be seen. When she married Charles, she was immediately placed as the second highest-ranking woman in the British order of precedence, right after Queen Elizabeth II. However, in some situations, her rank changes, sometimes placing her fifth or sixth. Queen Elizabeth made a few adjustments to the royal order of precedence for private events, putting Duchess Camilla in fourth place, right after the Queen, Princess Anne, and Princess Alexandra. Queen Camilla's role in the royal family was also highlighted when Queen Elizabeth lent her the Greville tiara and gave her the badge of the Royal Family Order of Elizabeth II. She now lives with Charles at Clarence House, their official home. They celebrate holidays at Burke Hall and host family events at Highgrove House in Gloucestershire. In 2008, they set up their main residence at Llwyney Wyrmod in Wales, where they spend summers and other special occasions. Sometimes she uses Ray Mill House as a peaceful place to spend special time with her children and grandchildren. She lived there from 1995 to 2003. On September 8, 2022, she became Queen Consort when her husband became King Charles III after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Just a day later, on September 10th, she joined the Accession Council, where Charles was officially declared king. She stood by his side with her stepson William as a witness. When she became queen, she shared that she wanted to make some changes to the traditional role of lady-in-waiting. She suggested turning the role into something more relaxed and calling it a queen's companion. This new position would mainly help her during official events, but wouldn't include daily tasks like managing her schedule or answering mail. On May 6, 2023, she was crowned alongside Charles at Westminster Abbey in London. Then in June, on the 16th, the palace revealed that Charles had given her the high honor of being named to the Order of the Thistle. Just a few weeks later, on July 5th, She stood next to Charles during a Thanksgiving service at St. Giles's Cathedral in Scotland, where he was awarded the nation's top honors. However, unlike Prince Philip, she didn't receive a parliamentary allowance. Instead, her support comes from the sovereign grant. But this wasn't the most surprising news. During their time as king and queen, she and Charles have been quite busy. They've gone on 3 state visits and have hosted 3 as well. In March 2023, she traveled with Charles to Germany on his first trip abroad as king. Later that year, they visited France and Kenya in September and October. By November 2024, she stood by Charles's side again, this time at his first state opening of Parliament as king. It was another big moment in their royal duties. What do you think about the royal couple's effectiveness? Like, comment, and subscribe to share your views and stay updated on royal affairs.